The life of James Edgar Broyhill presents a perfect example of the fabled American success story, the rise from humble beginnings to prominence in industry, government, and community. Born May 5, 1892, to Margaret and Isaac Broyhill, James Edgar was the youngest of 6 brothers and 3 sisters. The Broyhills had a small farm in Wilkes County, then as now a rural area in the North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains. The family was a typical farm family of that era, short on money, but close-knit and hard-working. For Edgar, farm chores were interrupted only by a 2-mile walk each way to a 1-room, 1-teacher schoolhouse, where he earned the equivalent of a 6th-grade education. He also spent many hours hauling logs and working in his older brother Tom's sawmill. By the time Ed was 20, Tom Broyhill had become the principal owner of a furniture factory. Tom's success served to spur his admiring younger brother's ambition. Having spent most of his first 21 years behind a mule, Ed, with only $5 in his pocket, left the farm for Boone, North Carolina, seeking to continue his education at the Appalachian Training School for Teachers, now known as Appalachian State University. Ed never received his high school diploma, however, for as he began his 5th and final year at Appalachian, the U.S. entered World War I. In September 1917, he was drafted. While waiting to be shipped to France, Ed fell gravely ill and was sent to Walter Reed Hospital. During his convalescence there, he learned to type, a skill that helped pave his way into the business world. Following his discharge from the military in 1918, Ed moved to Lenoir to live with his brother Tom. He began typing and keeping the books for Tom's company, the Lenoir Furniture Corporation. It was here that Ed learned the furniture business from the ground up. Eventually, he began selling for the company, first around Lenoir, then west as far as New Orleans. During this time, Ed also went to New York to propose to his Appalachian sweetheart, Sadie Hunt. They married on June 18, 1921, and during the next 10 years became parents of 4 children, Aline, Paul, James, and Betty. Though he was making a good salary, Ed realized that his upward course was limited as a salesman. So, in 1926, he mortgaged his home, borrowing $5,000 to start his own business, the Lenoir Chair Company. Ed began operating in the basement of his home, but soon outgrew it. He then leased the old J.A. Allen blacksmith and buggy shop for $15 a month. That first year, they did some $200,000 worth of business and laid the groundwork for what was to become one of the largest furniture companies in America, Broyhill Furniture Industries. Acknowledged as a leader in the furniture industry, Ed served 4 terms as president of the Southern Furniture Manufacturers Association, and in 1946 received the Furniture Man of the Year Award presented by the American Furniture Mart Board of Governors. Ed gained national recognition as a leading industrialist during World War II, serving on the advisory committee of the Office of Price Administration. He also served on the board of directors of the National Association of Manufacturers from 1948 until 1951. He was again honored in 1967 when he received the James T. Ryan Award from the Southern Furniture Manufacturers Association. Family members said Ed believed businessmen should contribute to good government, and that was the reason he was active in local, state, and national politics. He was elected 7 times as the Republican National Committeeman from North Carolina and served 8 times as a delegate to the Republican National Convention. Ed's political and business contributions were recognized in 1966 by Dwight Eisenhower, Richard Nixon, Barry Goldwater, Everett Dirksen, Robert Taft Jr., and Thomas Dewey. He was also active in civic and religious organizations, including the Masonic Lodge, the First Baptist Churches of Lenoir and Blowing Rock, and served on various hospital and college boards. His humanitarian efforts were recognized by naming the Broyhill Home for Children in his honor, as well as the J.E. and Sadie Broyhill Caldwell Senior Center. The Broyhill Foundation continues Ed's benevolence with financial contributions to civic, educational, religious, and other concerns. In 1971, the North Carolina Citizens Association presented James Edgar Broyhill with the Distinguished Citizenship Award. And in the same year, Appalachian State University honored him with an honorary Doctor of Business Administration degree. Perhaps the most fitting tribute to Ed Broyhill can be found in a biography of his life, Anvil of Adversity, written by his late son-in-law, William E. Stevens, Jr. From his modest beginnings as a farmer, lumber hauler, and apple peddler, he became a towering industrialist, a leader in civil affairs, a political fundamentalist, a friend of presidents and near presidents.